In this video, we're going to go over some flaring tips. I'm Kevin Mesnick, and this is 2-Minute Tech Tips. All right, so let's go over some flaring tips. These are the tools that you'll need. We've got a good tubing cutter, R410A flaring tool, a flare checker, which I will dig into, a little bit of zoom spout oil, and a reamer. Now the most important part, in my opinion, is the cut. So if you don't cut this the correct way, if you tighten this thing down too tight and you do it too quickly, you're not going to have a nice round piece of pipe. So tip number one would be take your time when you're cutting your pipe. Next thing to do is you're going to want to ream it. Now this again is something that I like to take my time, and I ream it out pretty good. You can see here on this table, it should show up. You see all of that copper shavings falling onto the table. So another tip, your line set coming from the indoor head and it's going down the wall, your line set's pointing up, don't do the ream in that case, because you can see all of these copper shavings. Now these copper shavings, if you're doing it this way, are all going to go down inside the line set. Once you've reamed the pipe, now we're going to stick it into our flare tool. This little guy here is the depth gauge. Now with this flaring tool, this does have a clutch. When it's tight, it's going to break free. Once it does, back it off. And there's our flare. Nice clean flare. So the next tool is the flare checker. This is one of the cheaper tools here, besides maybe the tubing cutter, but really this is one of the most important tools for flaring. The way it works, I've already flared a couple ends on this piece of pipe. I did one too big, so if it doesn't fit through, that's a bad flare. And then this one's too small and it's going to go right through, and that's a bad flare. Now the one that I just did should sit right down on that ridge. So that is a perfect flare. The next tip is using oil. Now oil, all we want to do is put a little drop on the back of the flare, use your finger, and just coat the back of the flare. All that's doing is that's lubricating the nut on the pipe. If you don't do that, the pipe could spin as you're tightening the nut. The thing to take away is just take your time with flares. That's one of the bigger things I see problems with, is guys just get in a hurry. Go to arefco.com for more videos. Like, subscribe, and check back every week for new videos.